Okay, so this is day 3. We're going to talk about healing relationships. Thank you so much for joining me. So, loving relationships are truly what life is all about, right? This is where we experience the most joy, and this is where we can also experience disappointment. So, I will tell you my own story of growth within relationships because I find that stories are so much more compelling and interesting as opposed to listing bullet points or going on and on about my philosophy, right? So, here it is. So, for most of my life, I struggled intensely with relationships. I had a pattern of short and difficult relationships with difficult partners. And in reflection, right, when I thought about it, I recognized that I had some self esteem issues and that I was actually choosing emotionally unavailable men. But I still truly believed that the problems were because of the other person, right? If I could find the right person or fix this person, everything would be awesome, right? So when I met my current partner, I was still in that mindset, right? And given that, of course, we had some major difficulties in our relationship. We fought, we broke up, I mean, all the time, like every couple of months. So, how did things change? What happened? So when I began to follow the spiritual path with more dedication, right? This is when I began to study and practice energy healing. This is when I received more insight into my own contribution to the friction in my relationships. It's like the divine energy I was channeling when performing the healings, right? The energy healings was totally unbeknownst to me, right? Was also healing me, was purifying me. And what happened in a very subtle way, right, is my capacity was expanded, right? I began to see or have insight into my own self-centeredness, my own tendency towards the victim triangle dynamic, and all sorts of patterns, right, that were there that I was completely blind to. And the other behavior that I had, and this is like, I hate to even admit this, and this is very, very damaging, is that I would talk to my friends, I would talk to people and complain about my relationship, right? So what that does is this horrible. It actually creates negative thought forms that actually energetically harm the person who is being talked about, right? And also reinforce the negative behavior. So how did I shift this? Right? So first I stopped all negative talk about my partner. I just stopped it, right? Then I slowly started focusing on thinking positive thoughts about him, recognizing, focusing on his positive traits, like seeing the good things that he did every day for me. Then I also asked my guides and angels to help me heal my relationship. This is super helpful and super important. This is like pressing the easy button. um, it's they just open doors for you and kind of like pave the road for you so much easier and so much better than you could do on your own, right? And then finally, my last step is I became more affectionate. So even when watching TV, when we were just sitting there hanging out, I would hold his hand. I would say nice things to my partner, right? Like, hey, how could that be? Like, that's just so helpful and so easy. So this is all super simple, right? And then to show you, the result of all that, last month we joyfully celebrated our 10th anniversary together. And we were truly in sync and truly proud of our relationship and what we grew together, what we built together. And we are far from perfect, right? We still have our stuff. But I can tell you that our home is filled with love and affection, right? Which is a huge, huge shift from what we had before. So in summary, right, so this is what I did and this is what I know works. Number one, first stop all negative talk and negative thoughts about the person you're having difficulty with. So obviously, most commonly, this is going to be your intimate relationship, but if you have challenge with someone, just apply that to that person as well. Number two, ask your guides and angels to help you. to help you with this relationship, to give you insight into what's really going on and how you're contributing to the dynamic. And they will also smooth things out for you in ways that you don't even know or can't even conceive of. Number 3, think positive thoughts about the other person. Sort of just starve the thought forms that are perpetuating negative thoughts and anger and resentment towards that person. Cut those. Think positive thoughts. Focus on their good traits, on the good things that they've done. And then finally, and this is with no judgment, don't beat yourself up, please. Recognize the way that the person you're having challenge with is mirroring you, right? Perhaps you're mad at them because they have mood swings, or look at their selfish behavior. So you may find, right? You may find that you may have the same behaviors and you're just blind to them, right? You just don't see them. Other people see them, trust me, but you don't, right? You think that, I'm just giving and I'm just so wonderful. Well, you might not be so wonderful, and you might be projecting all that stuff onto them. And again, no judgment, right? We all have wounds. We all have things that we carry. There's a reason why we have these behaviors. We're here to work them out, right? And they all ultimately really come in and smack you in the face in our close, personal, intimate relationships. And then finally, it's always a good idea to seek help and support from healers, therapists, whoever you resonate with, whoever you feel like resonates with you, that you feel like drawn to help you, right? Seeking help is so positive. It takes courage. It takes courage to do that, and it will help you speed up the process, right? And why spend years suffering? Just get help. Somebody can really help you muck through that and resolve all that stuff quicker. We all need support from others. You can reach out to me, of course, or any healer you resonate with. And of course, ask your guides and angels to help guide you towards the right healer. So that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.